Okay, so we're discussing over here again the concept of Hi Yaakov. We just began. We're discussing over here the concept of Matnas Shchiv Mara. I just want to point out something before we begin. Is the Rashbam makes a um, a uh, a summary of what we learned yesterday. So I just wanted to get that before we go on to the new story. But he says like this: if someone gives a matnas shchiv merah, right? He wrote that I'm on his deathbed. I'm giving everything away. Okay, let's say he says he's giving everything away to someone, and that someone made a kinyan. That's what's written into the document, right? But he didn't give over the document to the recipient. He just wrote that we have a kinyan over here. It's his. So could be, could be, Rabbi Shmuel said that maybe he didn't want to give it because he's a shchiv merah, because he's on his deathbed. He wants to give it through the acquisition of a star, and that it should take effect after he dies. So therefore, a person who dies cannot give something via a star to someone else. So therefore, it's not going to work. Ein star lachi misa. But if he wrote in the document, I want it to work as a shchiv merah. In addition, I'm writing a star also, and there's a kinyan in there. And I just wanted to have as an extra. So so as a shchiv marah, then the part of shchiv marah takes effect, and the recipient will receive the gift after the person dies. Because here he clearly says that I really wanted to work out as a shchiv marah type of gift, but I'm also doing something to make it like a regular star with a kinyan. Now, but again, as a shchiv marah, we learned this many, many times that a shchiv marah can give a gift after you dies. You know, you're on your deathbed, you can give a gift to take effect after a person dies. But if he gets better, he gets the gift back. Because everybody knows that the only reason why he was gifting all his assets away is because he thought he was gonna die. So therefore, that's what we hear over there. Now, ah, now here one more thing is if he gives a document, he wrote a document, he made a kinyan, he said that I made an acquisition and transferred the document to the recipient, then the guy that he transferred it gets gets to keep it, and even if the guy gets better, he doesn't get it back because he wrapped it up so well so that the recipient should be able to receive this gift that he didn't leave himself a way out, even though he was a shchiv mirah on his deathbed when he did all this. But since he wrote a document, he took a kinyan and transferred the document that says that I'm giving you my assets. So then there's no backsies, even if he got better. Okay, now let's go back into our Gemara. We're starting from Daf Kuf Nun Gimel Amud Aleph, about 5 lines from the top. Ahi, okay, make it bigger. Ahi matanta. There was this gift. A guy was on his deathbed. Now, when a person's on his deathbed and says, "I want to give a gift," right? So obviously, the gift should take effect after he dies, because that's what he's giving a gift on his deathbed. But he wrote it down on a piece of paper that he's gifting his assets away. The Havakosabo is written in the document B'chayim Uvamavis. I wanted to take effect while I'm alive and after I die. Now, how do you get both of these things to work? So Rav says, Harehi kamatanas shchiv mara. That's a regular gift of a guy on his deathbed, which only takes effect after he dies. And therefore, if he would get better, he would be able to get it back because he's gifting it as a shchiv mara. And we know if a shchiv mara gifts something, if he gets better, he gets it back. Shmuel says, Harehi kamatnas bari. That's a healthy man's gift because he wrote, we'll see what it means, but it's a healthy man's gift. And even if he gets better, he does not get it back. Like you give a gift when you're healthy and you give it to somebody, you can't ask for it back. And the Gemara explains. Rav Amar Rav says, Harehi kematanas shchimera. It's a gift of a person on his deathbed. Mid the kasaba, because it's written on the gift, it's bamavis, that he wants the gift to take effect after he dies. Achamisa kamale. So he's saying that I want the gift to take effect after I die, which makes it a gift of a shchimera. Understood. Then why did he write that mechayim? I'm giving the lift bechayim on when I'm alive too. Hay dechsiv bechayim. That he wrote bachayim, that it should be when he's alive. Silmin ba'alma dechaye. That he wanted to say, it's like you don't want to say the word death, because that's called tiftach pela satan. So he said that a nice way of saying, like, that I'm still alive, or that, I'll be alive after I die, which is in the Olam Haba. But he didn't mean that the gift should take effect while he's literally on his hospital bed. He meant that it should take effect after he dies, but b'chayim, that he hopes, that he's going to live in the afterworld or something like that. But it's a siman, but not that when the gift should take effect. Shmuel says, Harei hi kamantnas bari. That's a regular gift of a healthy person. And therefore, it takes effect when he's alive. So then why did he say that it should take effect when he dies? Why did he say b'chayim uvamaves? So he says, Shmuel says, mid b'chayim, since he said b'chayim when I'm alive, b'chayim comment. He meant to say that it should take effect while I'm alive, like a healthy person can give a gift when you're alive. Why did he write that it should take effect after he dies? Commander Omar, he said that the gift should be a gift that lasts forever, that even after I die, the gift should last, but it should take effect b'chayim while I'm still alive. Hi, Sheldon, we just began with Kuf Nun Gimel Amid Aleph.
Okay, got it.
Ama Nerdoi says, Hilchasa Kavasi the Rav, the halacha remains like Rav. So let's review what Rav said. Rav said, a guy on his deathbed writes, he's giving a gift, b'chayim of amavis, that it should take effect when he's alive and when he's dead. Now that's a complete mystery. What did he mean? He meant to say that it should take effect after he dies, like any gift of a person on his dying bed. However, he wrote b'chayim that, I'm going to live in the afterworld, but really it takes effect after he dies. And therefore, if he somehow gets better, he can get the gift back, because he only gave it only if he would die, but he didn't die. So that's why Nerdoi said the halacha is kavasi de Rav. Amar Rava, but Rava qualified, and he disagrees not totally. He said he agrees with Rav in theory because the guy said bachayim ubamabas, with life or with death. Because of ba mechayim, if he wrote that it's mechayim from when I'm alive, and bamabas when I'm dead, kana, then the recipient, acquires the gift while he's still alive, and there's no backsies over here, because the guy specifically says mechayim, from when I'm alive. But Amar Amemar said there is no difference. Leis hilchasei kavas the halacha is not like Rava, even if he wrote mechayim in the document, but the fact that he said bamoves and he's on his deathbed, right? He's on his deathbed. Presumably, he meant that the gift should take effect after he dies. So the halacha is not like Rava. Amale Ravashi Lamemar, the Ravashi said to Amemar, Pshita. It's, of course, the halacha is not like Rava. The people of Nerdoi said the halacha is like Rav. So what are you saying? The halacha is not like Rava. So the Gemara says maybe Rav would agree to Rava. Mahu Deseima, I would have thought Mechaim, when you add the word from when I'm alive, Moide Rav would agree that it takes effect when you're alive. Kamash B'lam. So that's what Amemar taught us, that there is no difference. Once you said Bamaves, it should take effect after I die. Even if you said Bachayim or even Mechayim, it doesn't mean anything. It's still considered a matnash shchimera. Let us see the Gemara further. Ahu da Ase lekame de Rav Nachman lenardoi. There was a man uh, that came to Rav Nachman of Nehardoi, and it was a situation where the recipient, wanted to keep the gift, and the guy wrote. Maybe he was in a delirium state. He wrote B'chaim of Amavis. So, and he wants the gift back. He got better. So he came to Rav Nachman from Nehardoi, and he said, "Well, I was a shchiv when I wrote it, so I got better. I want to get my gift back. So and I didn't mean to give it, but in the fact the document said Bachayim. So, but he went to Nehardoi, which was this place with Shmuel. So Shadre lekamid Rabbi Yirmei bar Abba l'shum tamya. He sent the question. He sent the guy to go ask the question to Rabbi Yirmei bar Abba who lives in Shum Tamya, in another place. Amar, he said, I can't paskin for you here because Hacha Asher de Shmuel. This is the city of Shmuel, and according to Shmuel, if I paskin like Shmuel, you can't get it back because it's considered a matnas bari. Hey, Rav. How could I go like Rav when I'm living in the place where Shmuel lived? So I'm sending you to somebody else. Somewhere else, they're going to paskin like Rav, and then you'll be able to get the gift back that you gave as a shchiv meral. Another little story. Ahi the asay lekamei de Rava. There was this woman that came to Rava. Okay, of it, and she wrote mechayim uvamaves, right? And she was on her deathbed, and she gave it all away. Now she got better. She wants it back. Rava said, "You wrote mechayim." So Ovid lay Rava kishmait say. Rava did what his opinion was, that it takes effect, that mechayim from when you were alive, because you wrote mechayim, and therefore, Miss Lady, you're not getting the gift back because you wrote in your document to the recipient that you wanted to take effect mechayim u'mavis, but you wrote mechayim when you're still alive. So that's considered a gift of a healthy person where there is no backsies. Hava Kotar delay. She was hounding Rava, saying that maybe maybe your psak is wrong. Amalei Rapapa bered Rav Chanan Safrei. So Rava said to Rapapa, the son of Rav Chanan, his scribe, he worked for Rava. Zilk Soivla, right? Okay, she's right. Uksaiba, right in her Schoichra Lena Matan, that I'm, like a little code word that whoever's going to read this psak from Bezdin, they will know. I told the woman that she's right, so she should get away from me. She shouldn't bother me. But really, on the bottom, it says, I'm fooling her. It's wrong. She doesn't get the gift back. And that's it. The psak is that she doesn't get the gift back. She has a document from me that says she gets the gift back. I wrote on the bottom of the document that I'm fooling her. But she was a smart woman, and she knew that Rava is tricking her into to get, just getting out of the court. And with a document that that's not in her favor. Basically, it looks like in her favor, but the bottom of the document says that don't listen to what I'm paskening here because it's I'm fooling her. Amra, she said a curse to Rava, litbem arbe, your boats should sink. It means you should take a big financial loss. Atuye kamatisle, you're trying to fool me. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get out of your courtroom. And you're giving me this document thinking that I should think that I won, but I see in the bottom it says that I didn't win the court and that I don't get back the item, the gift. So they knew that this woman cursed Rava, and when a woman curses her, he had to take it very seriously. So so what did he do? So the Talmidim of Rava, when he received this curse that his boat should sink, they wanted the curse to take effect on something so that it shouldn't have a bad ending for Rava. So Amshiniu Lamani de Rava B'maya. They took Rava's like suits and his clothing and they dipped it and they dunked it into water. So that will be like the way that the curse took effect. They made the curse take effect by taking Rava's clothing and putting it in the water, and that was because they were concerned that this curse that this lady gave him would take effect. The Gemara says it wasn't working. Rava was not redeemed from actually having one of his boats sink, and he took a huge financial loss from this woman. It's not easy being a dayan when they curse you out. But we see from this Gemara that curses do have some sort of power to it. That a woman who cursed Rava that he should have his boat sink, actually this occurred and his boat sank. Now the Gemara begins. Let's say a person received a gift. Now, remember, if it's a shchiv mara, the paper says that he got a gift. If the giver gave it as a shchiv mara and then he got better, he gets the gift back. But if he gave it as a healthy person, so that if he gave it as a healthy person, so then when the recipient of that gift keeps it, he doesn't have to give it back. But so a person, when he's a shchiv mara or when he's giving a gift, writes it on a piece of paper that he's giving the gift while he's a shchiv mara, while he's a gift, while he's a shchiv mara. In fact, if they gave the gift, if the shchiv mara died, the guy on his deathbed died, they would say that you recipient received this gift which was given to you by the giver on his deathbed, and he actually died from that sickness. But let's say a person has a piece of paper that he receives a gift from somebody, and the Mishnah says, it doesn't say that the giver was a shchiv mara when he gave the gift. So, so the giver says, I want the gift back. Shchiv mara hayisi. I was on my deathbed when I gave this gift. Now that I'm healthy, I want the gift back. The recipient says, Bari hayisa. You are all healthy, and therefore the gift remains with us. So the first opinion of the Mishnah is, so they're trying to extract from the giver to give the gift because they have the piece of paper that they're supposed to receive the gift. So tzarech lahavi raya shechiv mira hoya divrei meir. The giver has to prove that he's a shchiv mira, that he was on his deathbed when he wrote this piece of paper, and then he'll keep it. Otherwise, he has to follow through with what's written on the paper because we see him as a healthy person. Perhaps he was always healthy. We don't know if he was at one time on his deathbed. So therefore, if we see him as a healthy person, so probably when he wrote this document, he was a healthy person. So the document is effective, and the giver has to give the gift. Divrei Meir. This is the opinion of Rameir. The Chachamim say, they're trying to extract from this person to give the gift. Well, he has a chazaka that this is his possessions. So they have to prove the opposite, that he was healthy when he wrote this document. And if they can't prove, then they will believe the giver that he was a shchiv mara and he gets to keep his possessions. So the Gemara gives a little similar story, but let's see like this. Hapu matanta, there was a man on his deathbed, there was a gift. And the guy has the piece of paper that says he received a gift from a shchiv mara. The problem is like this. The Havakosaba was written on the document that he receives, that when the guy was on his deathbed, he wrote this document that the recipient should receive this gift, maybe his cufflinks, whatever it is. But it didn't write in the document, he died because of the sickness. Now we're dealt with a different question over here. The question is like this. It could be, since it doesn't say in the document that he died from this illness, could be he got better. And therefore, the document has no effect because he automatically received back what he wrote in the document because he got better. And maybe he died from a different cause. So we don't know for sure that he died from that sickness, and therefore the recipient gets to receive his gift. Perhaps he got better and died from a car accident or something like that. So we don't know. So we go to Kufnun Gimel and Bebeis. Amar Rabba, Rabba said like this, Hare Mace. We have, the guy is dead, right? We know he died. And he's in the ground, he's buried. So we can assume that it says that he was sick when he wrote the document, that he stayed sick all the way through to his death, and then died because of that sickness. So therefore, the recipient on that document can receive his gift. That was Rabba's psak. Amalei Abaya, so Abaya said, wait a second, not true. Uh, uh, we have a din that roiv choilim lechayim, that most people who are sick, halavai, get better. So therefore, why don't we assume that there's a chazaka that this person got better? And where do we know that? Hashta umasfina. If a person hears that a ship sunk in the sea, most time the Titanic went down. Sherubin la'abin. Most people in on the ship drowned. But the Mishnah tells us in Gittin that doesn't mean we always assume that people are alive and some people are dead. In other words, we don't say everybody died. So, for example, a Kohen who married a Bas Yisrael, and if the Kohen was on the ship, so then that Bas Yisrael will not be able to eat truma anymore because we assume chumrei mesim, that her husband died. However, if it's a Bas Kohen li Yisrael, right? Bas Kohen li Yisrael. If her husband was Yisrael, she's a Bas Kohen. We don't say, "Oh, your husband died, the Yisrael. Now you could go back to your father's house and eat truma." No, we assume that your husband, is still alive. So, when it comes to a ship that capsized, which most likely everybody drowned, we still assume that some people live. Comes by sicknesses. Roiv choilim l'chaim. Most people who are sick make it through, like Kolshkeim. Why don't we say that this guy got better and therefore received this gift back? And because of that, therefore, the recipient should not receive the gift. We could assume that the guy died from something else. Rav Huna Berei Rabbi Yeshua, Kaman Ozla Hoshmaitza de Rabba. So Rabba has a Tana to go along with. Who's that Tana? Rab Nosson. Rab Nosson is a Tana. Rab Nosson says, you look at the guy the way he is right now. If he's right now dead, we assume that he was sick right before he died, and that he died from the sickness that he wrote the document in. The Tanya we learned to the Brisa. In our Mishnah, the guy is machlokes in our Mishnah very similar. Our Mishnah, basically, which is a Brisa, also says the same thing. Mi moitzim yad mi. In a case where we have a document, a recipient that's supposed to receive a gift, and he's saying, I was a shchivmera when I wrote it, and they're saying, no, you were a bari when you wrote it. Who moitzim yadayim b'loy rai? He takes it back. If they want to say that he was a bari, then the recipient should receive the gift. They have to prove it. If they don't prove it, then we say he has a cheskas moment. The money is his. The giver doesn't have to give it. Divrei Rab Yaakov. Rab Nosson says, look at him now. He's the guy giver saying, oh, when I wrote the gift, I was a sick person. No, we look at him now. In Barihu, if he's a healthy person now, so we assume that he's a healthy person. When he wrote the document, he was also healthy. Olav lahavi rai. Then he has to prove that when he wrote the document, he was a shchimera. He was a sick person. In shchimerahu, if right now he's a shchimera on his deathbed, Alein lahavi rai, they have to prove shabari hoya that when he wrote the document, he was healthy. So the point is, Rabbi Nosson has this opinion, is that with every chazaka you have, a very strong chazaka is look at him right now. You have a chazaka that most people who are sick become alive, right? They get better. But Rabbah said, but look at the guy. He's dead now, and he died from something. So we assume that he died from the sickness that he was. And since the original document says that when he wrote this, he was a sick person, we're not going to make now a whole spiel and say, oh, maybe he got better, and therefore he got all his possessions back, and he died from another sickness. No, we're going to say that the chazak of Hashta, right now he's sick, right now he's dead. We can assume right now before he died, he was very sick, and he was sick with that sickness when he wrote the document. And that is the opinion of Rav Nosson. Concludes the Gemara. We'll just stop over here. One more minute. Regarding Tuma, we have the same type of machloikis. The Tanam we learned in the Mishnah, Bika, a private area that they put a fence around it, Bimaisachama during the summer months, like a Bika is a little valley, a little field during the summer months where people are, where everything is harvested. Rishus Yochid l'Shabbos. It's Rishus Yochid for Shabbos because there's a fence around it. Rishus Rabim Latuma. But since many people feel the liberty to cross through your field, to walk on your field, because you're not planting there, so when it comes to Tuma, we consider Rishus Rabim, and any suffix Tuma is a suffix Tuma Rishus Rabim. If it happened, if it's the winter months, Rishus Yachid Lakan Lakam. Since you're planting there and there's a fence around there, nobody's walking through your field, and there's a fence, so regarding Shabbos and regarding Tuma, it's considered to be a Rishus Hayachid. But if you come to ask a question, you don't know when you went through that field. So Rab Nosson will say, if it's summer months, then we assume that you went through the field during the summer months. If when you ask the question, it's winter, we assume that it's the winter months you went through the field. We always look at what it is right now. And that's what Rab Nosson would say. Rab Yaakov would say, you look at the person. The person was a cheskes tahara, so that's we'll decide what the shaila, how to answer this question. Anyway, Amar Rava said, Lo shonal shloi avral of Moisek Shamim, avral of Moisek Shamim Rishus Yachid L'Kanakam. There's a side point. Rava said that we always assume that in during the summer months it has a din of a Rishus Rabim. But if it went through the winter months and it became a Rishus Yachid, then it does not leave from becoming a Rishus Yachid. It always remains a Rishus Yachid, even if it returns back to being a Yemaisa Chama. Because once it stays a Rishus Yachid, it always will remain a Rishus Yachid. That's just a side point that the Gemara extends the Machlekes Rab Nosson and Rab Yaakov to Tuma. But the point is, Rab Nosson is the opinion. You always look at what the person is right now, and that determines how you're going to answer. The Chazaka Dahashta will determine how you answer a question. Okay, so this ends Kuf Nun Gimel.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.